What's going on, everyone? Thanks for tuning in. Big Palma here, and today I'm going to talk my top five reasons why you're not seeing results in bodybuilding. This list is my list. I just made this up. These are 5 reasons that I believe a lot of people don't make results in this sport. So let's get right into it. I'm going to start with my number 5 reason. We'll work up to my number 1 top reason why I don't think people make results. So number 5, it's surrounding yourself with the wrong people, right? Bodybuilding, fitness is a really misunderstood sport, even today in 2020. A lot of family members don't understand our need for the gym and why we eat the way we eat, how many meals we eat, the frequency, why we need to go to the gym, right? There's a lot of times that we skip out on social events because we need to work out, or we're sticking to our diet plan and we don't want to be tempted by certain foods at parties, etc. Right? So I really think that one of the big things is people don't have the right support systems. You need to find the right support system. You need to find 1, like-minded individuals, 2, supportive individuals, and 3, I think is a really big one, is really driven individuals, right? They don't need to be driven in the sport of bodybuilding or fitness, but typically people that are really goal-driven or hard workers understand other hard workers and other people that have different goals than they do. I've been very fortunate to keep a really tight, close group of friends. I've always looked up to people that I think, or I've always looked up to people that are driven in a way that I would want to be driven. And if you are surrounded by those people, you'll find out quickly that it's a really good support system. They're going to push you in the direction you want to go, and it helps you really focus on your goals. So my number 4 reasons why you are not seeing the results you want to see is seeking guidance from the wrong places, right? There are a lot of coaches out there today. There's a lot of authorities in the sport today that think they are, better than the rest. There's a lot of fake people out there, and there's a lot of people that are just giving out wrong information. So you definitely need to find the right sources of information. There's a lot of good coaches out there as well. So, pay attention, listen, find someone that you trust, and make sure that person that you're listening to, you have them up on a pedestal. If you are going to listen to someone that you think is at the same level as you, there's a big chance that you might not put a lot of weight in the advice they give you. You might think that you know better than them. You might start changing things around. So, make sure the person that you're going to listen to is someone that you really admire and you really believe in. That's a huge tip. That's a huge tip. I've been there. I've had coaches that I just one didn't really click with personality wise, and I've had coaches that I started to question some of the moves they were making me do. And once you get into that mindset, you start to lose faith in the process. And once you start making your own choices and own decisions, you're coaching yourself at that point. So make sure the person that you're with is someone that you trust and that you really look up to. That's a big one. The other big tip of this one is, if you're going to be with a coach, only listen to that one person, right? There's, like I said before, there's a lot of information out there now. There's a lot of coaches and other professionals in sport talking, and there's also a lot of different ways to skin a cat, right? So once you get your own coach, listen to that coach. Only follow their process. And then, I hate to say this because, you never want to stop learning, but I really think it's important to almost phase out a lot of the other information out there. It just makes you question yourself, and it makes you question the process that your coach is doing. And being a confused athlete, especially when you're getting ready for a competition, is not a fun place to be. I've been there, and I've questioned some of the things that I'm doing, and it kind of just puts you in a downward spiral. So, seek out the right guidance, work with someone you trust, and only listen to that one person. Number 3 on my list is not doing the right movements for you, right? There's a lot of pressure in this industry where people think you need to do certain movements to achieve certain results. An easy example of this is, everyone thinks you need a bench press, you need a squat, and you need a deadlift, right? There's a place for those movements. Not everyone needs to do them. I think a lot of beginners should do them just to get a good base, build a good base. But one of the biggest tips I can give to this one is, if you don't feel it in the muscle group that you are targeting, or if you don't, if you're not getting a super tight contraction with it, then it might not be the right movement for you, or you might just need to reassess the way you're doing the movement. Check your form, check your stance. Where are you applying pressure? Where are you pulling from? There's a lot of different variables that go into it. But simply put, if you don't feel it, don't do it or reassess it. Right? You don't need a bench press. I used to be a huge squatter. That was my bread and butter. That was my meat and potatoes of the workout for leg day. I have a big passion for it. I loved it. I was a 500 pound for reps squatter. But it got to a point about 2 years ago where my legs weren't growing. They weren't responding anymore, and the only thing that was happening was my knees were getting progressively worse and worse and more achy. So I took a big step back. I haven't squatted now in 2 years. I can probably count in one hand how many times I have in the last 2 years. And I now take a completely different approach. I do a lot more volume. I used to be a low rep guy, heavy squatter, and now I'm doing a lot more volume, and I've changed my movements up a lot, and my legs started responding, and they started growing substantially from where they were 2 years ago. So that's a huge one. Moving on, these last two items on my list, I got as number 2, number 1. They're really tied in my book. I really couldn't figure out where to put them, so I put them down here. They're not in any particular order. I think they're both pretty equal. They're both just as important as each other. But here we go. So number 2 on my list is not training hard enough. This is huge, guys. This is huge, and I've been doing this for almost 15 years now. I started when I was 16, and I remember going to the gym, and I wanted to be the biggest and the strongest guy in the gym. And a lot of times I was picking up weights that were way too heavy for me to handle, but I did it, and I busted my ass, and it in the long term it paid off. The number one thing when it comes to training is your intensity. You need to be training to failure on your movements. You need to be training close to failure. If there's the mind will fail before the body does. That's a fact. It just you'll be going through, and that pain starts to set in, that lactic acid starts to build up, and your mind's going to tell you, hey, we're done. This is failure. But there's a lot of times that little voice in the back of your head's also telling you, I could probably get a couple more reps. And at the end of the day, you're the only person that knows how many more you could have gotten. But intensity is key. Push yourself to failure. When I say failure, I mean mechanical failure, right? Don't sacrifice form. Always keep your form in check, but push yourself. The goal is to always keep improving, to always progress in the gym. Whether you're beating yourself with reps, beating yourself with weight, maybe you're shortening your rest period. There's a lot of different ways to kind of beat yourself week to week. But you need to train hard. You need to push it, and intensity is king, right? And the number one reason is not staying consistent, right? This sport is a journey, man. It takes a long time to get the results that you want, and we're never happy, to be honest. But it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. You hear that a lot. It's very true. You can't rush the process. When it comes to fat loss, I got a lot of clients that get really emotional with this one. They get really emotional with the scale, and they get frustrated when the scale doesn't move as fast as they want, or they didn't drop 50 pounds in the last couple of weeks. One thing I always tell a lot of my clients is, what took you 10 years to accumulate fat isn't going to be gone in 10 weeks. It could take 10 months. It could take a year. It could take a couple of years sometimes. The body is very stubborn, and it likes to stay the same. So you really got to push yourself. But more importantly, you have to stay consistent. Follow the diet. Keep training day after day after day, and it'll come. The results will come. Same thing with building muscle. It takes a long time. If you're not in that elite genetic tier, it's going to take you a long time. I've been doing this almost 15 years now. Again, like I said, and I'm just getting to a point now where I'm happy with where I'm at, and I'm finally a little bit over 200 pounds on stage. But it took me a long time to get here. This did not happen overnight. So you gotta stay consistent with the diet. You gotta keep eating those meals even when you're not hungry. You have to go to the train you have to go train even when you're not motivated for the gym. You gotta do it. This isn't a sport of motivation. It's a sport of dedication, and you just gotta do the work. Stay consistent, and the results will come. I promise. So those are my 5 top reasons why you're not getting the results that you want in the gym. Just to kind of quickly recap, number 5 was not surrounding yourself with the right people, having a bad group of people around you. So again, surround yourself with the right people, motivational people, people that are like-minded, right? Number 4 is, seek guidance from the right people in the right places. Like I said before, find yourself a coach that you trust and that you think very highly of, and listen to just that one person. Don't start asking everybody else their opinion at the same time, because everybody's plan is a little different, or approach rather is different. Number 3 is not doing the right movements for you. So again, really challenge yourself to question what you're doing and why you're doing it. If you're not feeling that movement, then don't do it, or reassess how you're doing it, right? Number 2, not training hard enough. That's this, like I said, number 2, number 1 are pretty much tied. So train hard, intensity, train to failure, push yourself harder than you think you can, and do that week after week after week, year after year. And lastly, my number 1 top reason why I don't think you're seeing the results you need is not staying consistent on the diet, and not staying consistent in the gym, and not staying consistent with continually pushing and challenging yourself in the gym. Like I said before, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Remember that. All right. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, comments, put them below. Remember to subscribe, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks.